shine and set yourself apart from the competition. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis famously said, one man's trash is another man's come up. In this short talk, you will learn the art of recycling a previously known throwaway idea and how to reclaim it as your own. Be prepared for some trash talk as Bill Good dumpster dives for hidden treasures that might very well become the next big thing. Bringing them front and center, please welcome Bill Good.
Thank you very much, Larry, and everybody. Well, he just has to throw a switch over there. And thank you, everybody, for coming out today. My name is Bill Good. For those of you who have not met me yet, let me go ahead and just welcome everybody to the dump. You're in it. And
volume, Robbie?
Yeah, we need to turn that up just a little bit.
How much are you sending them, Bill?
How much am I sending them? I'm sending them a bunch.
Yeah, you're wide open. Four.
More.
No, you're not.
No, it's coming out of your laptop. It sounds like. It's not plugged.
Yeah, when he moved it, he might have tweaked it.
Okay.
Check your audio.
Check my audio. Well, I'll tell you what.
Larry, cover this.
Don't get excited.
I'm not going to get
Right
excited.
click on your speaker icon.
Yeah, hang on.
HDMI audio.
I know exactly. I just have to do that, shrink that, and then,
Careful, Robbie.
yeah, do a bunch of who's a heck of a
Rolling.
yeah, and I'm way up at 100.
All right, now turn audio now.
Let's try it again. Yes. And that should be everybody's goal in here. If they flush it, you should take it and flaunt it.
You flush it.
And thank you very much. Now, just a couple of things. I am not a fan of smelly trash. If it really stinks, it just plain stinks. Garbage in is not garbage out necessarily, but it can be fertilizer. You know what fertilizer does? You throw it out there, you throw a little water on it, and it makes things beautiful. Sometimes it can stink, but it does what it needs to do. A little bit about me, for those of you who missed Larry's introduction right there. I've been doing this thing of ours since 1984. I've actually been in 4 markets. Atlanta I've been in twice. Started out in South Florida, moved up to Atlanta for just long enough for a cup of coffee in the very early 90s, moved up to the New York Tri-City area. That includes the Mike Walter area, lived up in New Rochelle, Westchester, worked for radio and TV up there in that area, had a blast doing it, then got offered a job, came back to Georgia, and was in Athens, and then moved back to Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta ever since. I am a mobile beat moderator, have been since '99, written for the magazine. There are a few articles out there, and I moderate the formal events board. So when you're looking for advice, don't be afraid to go out there. A lot of people have not been lately, I realize that, but don't throw away the boards just because you have not visited them. Facebook is not all that. There's some really sharp advice out there. And of course my PowerPoint's gonna go absolutely nuts, so let me try this. So let's go ahead and talk about the inspiration. What you see right there is a little table. And this inspired, in part today, as a kid, my mom loved to drive around, and she was driving down the road one day, stopped, she saw this table sitting on someone's trash pile. She went up to that person's door, knocked on the door, asked if she could have that table. They said, sure, take it home. So that was back in 1974, and to this day, she has had that table, stained it, cleaned it, had a lot of fun with it, and to this day, it still exists and does what it needs to do. And all she did was stop and ask if she could have it. Somebody threw it away. Now, the next thing that inspired me, see that nice little tiny marquee? Who remembers those little marquees that were purchased back in like the late 90s, early 2000s that you could change out, put on a speaker stand. Well, I wanted one of those. I have one, wanted a second one. However, I put it out there. A lot of people said, oh yeah, that's in my attic, or I threw that out about 3 years ago. Well, dang it, don't throw it away. Somebody may want it. And of course, the other thing was actually Mobile Beat itself. We have a DJ out there by the name of Booch, and his honorary title is the Dump Master. Anything that happens out there, he thinks it's garbage. So we went ahead, and he had a thread start up one night where he was bored. He just wanted people to talk to him, and probably about 3,000 postings to that. We went ahead and logged it, and there was a lot of fun stuff in it, but there's also a lot of great advice in it. So that's what started it, but then let me show the other thing that brought this to fruition. Everybody loves a great dumpster fire. If it is burning, it doesn't matter how horrible it is, they're going to stop, they're going to look at it. They're going to record it. They want to have fun with it. You notice the kids that are gathered around it, they're checking that sucker out. They're not running. They're not saying, oh wow, fire, we got to get out of here. They're saying, wow, dumpster fire. What kind of trash is burning in that? Did they set it on fire? I have no clue, but guaranteed that something very boring had a lot of junk in it. They decided they were going to have some fun, stick around, and make something of it, post it up on YouTube, and that sucker has several thousand hits. So that is what inspired today's thing. What is trash exactly? Well, trash, it isn't stealing, but it's adapting old, discarded ideas and just simply saying, well, you know what? That's old, but I can do a different twist on this, and wow, that's a brand new idea all over again. You can adapt anything you want, doesn't matter what it is. Old ideas, they're still great ideas. You can make them your own. Does not matter one bit. You take what you want. You don't have to take everything. You don't have to empty the dumpster and cart the thing home. You can just take a couple of crates of junk out of it and just leave everything there. That's all you need. And the saying goes, what's old is new again. DJs have been around for what? Probably commercially since at least the 60s. An old Mobile Beat article said there was actually some mobile DJs back in the 20s, if anybody remembers that, from about 15 years ago. And what we do today, not only is it not a new idea, it's been around for years and years and years. But how our approach is to it today is how we deal with it. What trash can DJs use? Well, pretty much anything. You know, marketing, image, staging, equipment, social media. There's plenty more, but I've only got a few more minutes. Here's some random things I'm going to go ahead and just start throwing out just to get the brain going, just to make you think. You know, here's DJ booth number 1. Who's got scrap lumber sitting around their house? Yeah, pretty much everybody. Have you thought about taking something and making it pretty? Well, there you go. That could be a little barnwood. If you live anywhere in the South, you've seen this. People have it up on their barn roofs. And when they take it down, what do? They dump it. But you can take it and you can build a DJ booth out of it if you want. Or what about some other production element? Of course, there's this thing right here, and I love it. This right here is wafer board. You're looking at it and it's like, what is this guy doing on a big box that looks like heck? In this corner right here, it says IKEA. This guy is not in the States. He's actually doing a corporate IKEA event over in Europe. So I doubt seriously that DJ built that. IKEA built it for him, and that probably came out of trash on their loading dock. And of course, my best one, the one I love since we're talking about IKEA, is this one right here. Yeah. Anybody remember this from maybe 3 years ago? Does anybody get the promo only newsletter? You do too? Where's Nick? He went up to his room. Shame on him, because this came out of their newsletter back in 2016. And what is that but stuff they bought at IKEA to make a DJ booth? So, again, you know, if it's trash to one person, it doesn't have to be trash to you. You can look at it with a fresh eye and do something with it. And it doesn't matter if it's just DJ booths. On the marketing side, look at your old blog posts. Can you update them to something today? Can you take something you wrote 5 years ago and say, man, I've got new ideas for this, and sit down and write a whole article on it? Matter of fact, there we go. Check your old blog posts and refresh. 4 years ago, and I'm showing it off to you today. Do you have any old vendor newsletters? Because promo only is not the only one sending it out. All you have to do is just go through your junk email, go through your old email. Everybody has an old computer, and just see if there's something you can pull out that you can use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it's already stacked up with rims in the back. And today, there's no more phone books, but everybody has that old Palm Pilot. They have that old address book. Pull it out, see if there's anything that's still relevant in there. Don't be afraid to smile and dial. And then my favorite, you can also sit down and write notes to people. You can write thank you notes, you can write short letters, and to practice your penmanship, if you don't write that well, I do crosswords all day long, and that helps my penmanship. And there's other ways, if you want to get your penmanship up to speed, just go ahead and do it. Now, if someone has a honeymoon or vacation coming up, you know, you have a couple getting married, or one of your vendors is going on a trip, get them some swag. You don't have to spend money on it. They're going to Fort Lauderdale, which is a popular place for the ships to go out for a week or so. Just, you know, give the Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau a call and say you want some sunglasses. And guess what? There it is. Because if you don't take them, they're going to throw them out. They have a budget, and they change their stuff up, and when the old stuff goes, it's in a dumpster. Images, well, let's go ahead and just go through that really fast. You notice that we have all these different people here, from Jules to the Gatsby and all. And then my favorite one, of course, you talk about these two. They sort of look like him and him, don't they? But listen, you know, even if you're up here and you have a face for radio, you can still take something old and make it work well. So some final thoughts I want to go ahead and impart. Let's go back, because that did not work the way I wanted it to. Go ahead and use the past to inspire your future. Don't be afraid to ask. If there's something you want to use, the asking part's always free. And I hope this trash up here really inspires something, you know, because I'll tell you, I'm the stupidest person around. I had to figure out a lot of this stuff for myself when I started. I did not have mentors. So anyways, if anything helped, I hope at least you got one thing out of this. And let me go ahead and give a fist bump to the dump. So I don't have a lot of time for questions, comments, or concerns, but let me leave you with a little Easter egg. And there's my contact info if you want to get hold of me. I'm all over the place. You can't miss me, pretty much. But let me go ahead and just give you the finest example I could find of recycling trash.
I'm just saying, we should go to the library at Quahog University and take your education to a higher level.
I guess I can try it. I mean, I do want to get ahead. I don't want to end up like Meg doing sad one-woman shows.
Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love
is this?
You're wearing a garbage bag as a cape. Who do you think?
Him? Shh, she's crushing it.
Thank you, everybody.
Bill good, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Bill.